Well, it's a super bright and sunny day today, so I hope you can see me. Now that Nora and I are now back from our trip, and I hope you're enjoying the videos that we've been putting up regarding our trip, I just got some jobs that need doing to Bumble, because I've been putting them off because it means quite a bit of a strip down at the front of the bike to actually get them done. So what I'm going to do is quickly show you the bike and I'll quickly go through how she's performing now that she's been in Morocco for the last 18 months. Now I think I've done a previous video on this, but this is like more of an update, especially after the modifications and the changes that I've made to the bike. Now anything I talk about in this video, there are videos already done regarding this, so I'm not going to go into what I've done too much. So please take a look at those past videos and it'll explain everything that I've done for the majority of the bike. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. So looking at the bike, obviously we've just come back from a trip, so he's very filthy and I've not done anything to it, so I just want to give it in his raw state at the moment. I do have to get him cleaned, I must admit, very soon. The bike is pretty much 90% stock. There's no changes that have been done really. I've added little bits and bobs, and the biggest one of course was the change of the front cog there from a 14 to a 15. Again, as I've said, there are videos up regarding all this, how, when, why and where, so to speak. What I will say is the performance of the bike has improved no end. Beautifully smooth to run, and the fuel economy is absolutely amazing. I must admit, I can't fault it whatsoever. He's on original tyres from brand new still, and they are still looking pretty good. I've had one puncture since I've had the bike, and that's it. Again, the chain original, I've had it checked and it's still in excellent condition and no need to change for that at the moment. The seat has been recovered, there is a video, and I have changed the battery. The battery was starting to play up, and what was happening was that it would start and everything and run fine for a little while, and then I would suddenly go to it and it would act as though the battery was flat. So it looks like one of the cells in the battery was actually gone. So I've changed it to a brand new battery, so it's on its second battery from new now. We had the original one and now we are on this aftermarket one that we have. All the accessories that I've put on are all fine, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. The problem I've had, and I think it's due to the light system regarding the battery, because before I had the lower spots just here on either side. I had them on a switched live with the ignition, so as soon as the ignition came on, the lights came on, and that would be these lower ones and ones I had fitted in here. And what's been happening is, I think that before the bike has been able to start, the lights have been causing damage to the battery. So one of the jobs that I've put off, which I'm going to do in a few minutes, is I'm going to rewire the lights so that they are on a button. Now I have two buttons here and here which are spare. This one here on the right hand side I use for the top yellow spotlights, and the lower spotlights here, which are white, I put on the left hand side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire up the lowest spotlights, which I've just shown you here. I'm going to wire them in with the top yellow spotlights so that they are all on one button, so that I can have them on at any point. The smaller spotlights, I'm going to leave them as they are to come on with the ignition. Now I've put this job off so much because the reason being is that it means me taking off all the crash bars and everything else, and it's quite a major job, so that's going to take me most of the day to do that. So fingers crossed that I will be able to get that done with no problem today. Now it's really hot at the moment. It's middle of summer, so it's around about 25 to 30 degrees, and it's quite windy today as well, so fingers crossed I'll get this job done. A couple of other things that I've noticed that I do not like. Now this has got what's known as upside down forks, and I'm sorry for the sun, but in here there is a gap with no protection whatsoever. And what's happening is, because Morocco is such a dry place, a lot of sand and stones, small stones, and what's been happening is they've been hitting inside here and they've caused pitting and some rusting. So what I've done is I took all this off, cleaned all the areas of rust on both sides, and I have put grease over the top just to give it a bit of protection. So that's basically it at the moment. I've got to do some wiring and rewiring and all sorts of stuff and everything, so we'll start stripping it down, and hopefully it won't take too long. The crash bars are held on with bolts to the frame, etc. here, and underneath it's held on by a bar up here and a lower bar here. Now for protection, what I did was, once I'd finished, I covered them with an old bicycle inner tube, so that it gave it a bit of a protection from the weather and the elements, the sand, etc. And it seems to have worked so far. However, I will replace that as well today, just to be on the safe side. Anyway, enough waffling from me. I shall get stuck into it, and if anything comes up as I go along, then obviously I'll document it. Now, one of the accessories I did do was, on the right hand side I added an extra USB port charging system, which is a twin one. Now one of these I use for my phone, which goes in here, and the other one is for the camera, so that I can charge the cameras on the go with no worries. Now unfortunately the original here has stopped working. Luckily I have got another one today to replace that, so while the side is all off and everything, I shall replace that at the same time. These work on a switched live, so when the ignition comes on, then they come on, and I shall do the same back with this side, as the one on the right here is wired across to the socket that this one is plugged in as well. So I will replace this one, and then again I will use this one for the left hand side camera, and the other side, believe it or not, if I walk around to this side, in this small box at the back is a power bank come tyre pump, basically electronic tyre pump. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire up the other socket underneath the seating and everything to come across inside the back, so that the pump and power bank all in one will be on charge all the time, because I have noticed if you leave it for a week or so, it tends to go flat. So if I can have that on charge while I'm riding as well, all the better. So that was a basic breakdown of what's been going on with the bike recently and what's been happening with it. So what we're going to do now is get stuck in, get the front strip down, so that I can access all the cables. I've bought some cabling, some connectors, I've got some heat shrink and things like that, and get stuck into rewiring all the lights and everything. Hopefully it won't be too big a job. I'll let you know. Okay, the left hand side is now completely back together. I've rewired the lights inside. Got this light is now working, and I've also fitted the new USB charger, so that is now all working. I must admit, I forgot to do a bit of filming. I got engrossed in what I was doing and I forgot, so I'm sorry about that. But it's all done, all wired up, all neatly done, and this side is now back together. Okay, the left side is complete, and I have now put the lights on. This one's working fine, this one's working fine. The bottom one I've still yet to wire up because I want to wire it up to the right hand side button. But other than that, everything seems to be going well so far. You may or may not have been able to work out that this is the following day. Had a few problems yesterday putting the right hand side crash bar together, which I managed to do in the end, put the covers on, etc. But by the time I'd done that, the day had virtually gone, and I must admit I was tired, my back was killing me, so I packed in for the day. So yeah, we're back at it. What's left to do is to wire up the lower spotlights, so I'll spin you around and I'll quickly show you what that looks like. Okay, as I said, I'm trying to wire up these lower spotlights just here. I've rerouted the cable from the left hand side to the right hand side so that I can use the right hand button to turn them off and on and connect them up to the upper spotlights. Now unfortunately I'm having to use like household electrical connectors because there are some things here in Morocco that are a little bit difficult to get, and with the language barrier as well, it's been a bit difficult. However, I've got these and hopefully they'll do, and I will tape them up thoroughly and make sure everything is all good after I've finished. And they've got to come up to here and be wired into this part here, and then the cabling will all be finished. It's just a case of neatening it all up, and I'm finalising everything, so there's a little bit to do but not too much. The other problem I've had is the trouble with me is when I'm doing a job on the bike, I concentrate on what I'm doing and I don't or forget to film. So while I've explained everything what I'm doing, I've not exactly showed you very much as to what I'm doing, and I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I will try and do better for other videos, but for the time being I will send this video up and put it on the channel, and hopefully some people will be able to make use of it. So yeah, time to connect these ones up, and hopefully these lights will be working. These lights will be working shortly. Okay, I finally managed to get it all finished, and the bike is now back together. I've taped up those connecting blocks that I showed you earlier on, connected cable, and I've done it neatly as best I can up to the cabling which I showed you earlier on. And it's all cabled up tight and nice and neatly as best I can. Not being a proper mechanic, you know, it's doing the best I can. All I have to do now is wait till it gets dark and to set up the tilt and angle of the lights, which I will do later on. So if I come around here, I'll turn the bike on, and as I said, I wanted everything to be on this right hand button. So if I push that in, we now have the top two yellow lights going, the bottom two spotlights which I've just wired up, and the two in the middle which are on the ignition switch. And if I come round to here, on the other spare light, or spare button I should say, there we go, we are running all 6, 8 all together with the small spotlights. Now I know this seems like a little bit of overkill. Let me go around and turn this off. Now, as I said, this may seem a little bit overkill, but what can I say? The drivers in Morocco are not very motorbike friendly. That's all I will say. So having extra lights on at night, and the yellow ones are specifically for the daytime. So I've got 4 running all the time, or 6 with the small ones, and then the 2 lower ones I can put them on extra as and when I need them. And that's it, the bags are all back on as well, either side. Now the next job I've got to do, which I won't do but it'll be someone else, is these cables here are the old cables from the lower spotlights, which are wired up into the lights themselves. I didn't do this, this was done a long time ago by another garage. So I'm taking it to Benelli to have them removed and to have lights, new lights fitted inside, as I don't like the ones that I've got at the moment. I hope you've been able to take something away from this. I'm sorry the filming has not been as good as I have done in the past, and I hope to have some more videos up soon. So thank you for watching, and as always, I'll speak to you later. Please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for our next upcoming videos. Thank you.